So I get a lot of comments asking about why you would spend $500 on Pixinsight and all the bells and whistles when Serial and things like SETI Astro Suite Pro are free. And it's a valid point. I've got my various reasons, but the biggest reason is because I'm a C-Star power user, the S30, the S50, I get the best data possible from StarFront, and both of those programs still struggle to process some or actually most of the images. I can't get results like I get in Pixinsight and be able to fine tune and play with them in Photoshop. And, like this is kind of the best that you can get with Serial. The Verilux stuff, I support everybody, and I'm a huge fan of Frank and everything. But I think a lot of these software things are tuned toward just better equipment, and that's fine. But we are C-Star users. I want C-Star people to take the images off of their apps and start processing and have the best results. Do what you got to do if you want to. There's very many ways to do this, but I think the least path of resistance besides the money is going to be Pixinsight. So that's just kind of a starting primer that I have. Anyway, I'm Chad. This is the Easy Astro Images channel. We're going to play with some photons today, and want a big shout out to all my channel supporters, Buy Me a Coffee supporters, and all that. If you want to join, down below are the links, and my top tier Buy Me a Coffee supporters get links to all my master stacks from StarFront, and the S30 Pro will be there shortly. It just showed up today. So the whole goal is playing with the Pacman today. We're going to do something like this right here, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Now this has all been stacked, cropped, rotated, and everything else inside of Pixinsight, and this is what we are looking at right here. Now, typically, I would use something like PyMagic that I love that automates all of my steps and leaves me with images that I can further play with here in Pixinsight, or I can take into Photoshop and just like start playing around with different things inside of Photoshop as well, and so on and so forth. But let's stay focused here. So this is the image. The first thing that we need to do after we have done all of that fancy stuff is we need to get rid of the gradient. A lot of people use Graxpert, gradient correction, whatever. I'm just going to use Graxpert. These literally are default settings. Works perfectly every time with my data because I just have a nice smooth. Typically I have no gradients, but since I decided to play in the moon, because again, even at StarFront, sometimes you don't get those clear nights unless it's a full moon. So you might as well do something because the software is good enough and powerful enough to just power through it. So we've got that done here. Now, I typically wouldn't do color calibration, and I did capture RGB stars to put inside of this image. But in order to keep things simple, I'm going to just go ahead and do a normal color calibration, mainly just for the stars, and then we'll pretty much ruin all of that on the stellar image because we're going to be using narrowband normalization, things like that to make our pretty color picture. So I needed to plate solve this, and now I've got a configured SPCC icon, whatever it's called these days, for my C-Star light pollution filter, and we'll just drop that on there. And now we've got everything all color calibrated. You can see we've got more color in the stars, and of course everything is kind of evened out. Now we can get into some of our correcting phases. So we'll correct the aberrations by using Blur Exterminator. Correct only, which, the exterminators are probably part of the reason why Pixinsight is so successful. I mean, the stuff just works, and that's just the way it is. So we'll run Blur Exterminator now, and typically I don't like I go back and forth on whether or not I like to run Blur Exterminator and Noise Exterminator pre and post. I don't run Noise Exterminator anymore, pre-stretching and stuff. So we've got everything ready to go, and the first thing that we got to decide is what stretch are we going to use. Now, I think the regular nuclear stretch like this right here, screen transfer, does the best job with the C-Stars, at least, as far as like separating your stuff without getting into channel separations and stuff like that. So that way we can get more of the color separation with like the narrowband normalization tools and all of that kind of stuff. So what I'll do is I will just go ahead and pull the stars out of the image here. And then that way we can go ahead and just do some of the different old school type of stretching methods. I just tend to, like I say, I think it gives me better results than doing it the other way. If I was going to use my RGB stars, I'd be going that route. So let's go ahead. I like to first just clean everything up, and we'll just drag and drop this at default settings, and everything is just going to get cleaned up. It's going to look great, smooth as usual. Just this is what you pay for. This is what the Blur Exterminator stuff does. It all just works. You don't have to dick around with nothing. And that's what I like. I don't like to mess around with anything. And for our stars now, we've got an option that we can do. Probably the best way I found to stretch stars just in general is just to use GHS. Now you can use something like SETI Star Stretch if you want to. I think a lot of people would just like to use GHS as well. So literally you just open it up and you just kind of pull this over. Usually somewhere around like 5 or 6 is kind of like a good number. We'll go with 6.5 because we'll be using image blend and we can always kind of dial that back. And then while we're in here, we can just go to saturation and we can just pull the saturation up on those a little bit as well, just to give us a little bit more color. And then we can take a look at them and see if they're a little greeny or something like that. Usually the best way to do that, we'll just drop the SCNR on it and we won't have to worry about it. And now we've got our stars ready to go or further processing down the line. Now we got to pick our color palette. We can try a couple different things. I just still find that the good old narrowband normalization tool just works flawlessly for me. So there's our HOO mode 1. Mode 2 is going to give us that like purple pinky type of thing. And mode 3 is going to give us more of like this orangey purple thing. I am going to go, let's say mode 2, and I usually just turn up the O3 just a touch, and we'll go ahead and apply that. And now that is our image that we're working with. So let's start doing some curves and stuff on this thing. So the first thing I like to do real quick is just make a mask. Pull the luminance out of it and stuff like that. And usually it's just from that right there. And I don't know why it's not pulling a mask because, oh, we didn't stretch yet. That's kind of a problem. We need to apply our stretch. So, silly me, let's go ahead and just do it the old school way. And we could probably, we already did a narrowband normalization on it. So let's just use SETI's stretching here real quick. So we'll use the statistical stretch, click on preview. And again, this is one of those things that just like always works. So that looks pretty good right there. We can check the HDR, clean a little bit of that up for us. And that kind of suppressed things a little bit. I am going to turn that down a little bit and see what that looks like. I want it to try to maintain a little bit of that color difference and that white and black and everything in there. So let's see what the Luma will give us. Okay, I'll take it. Little punchy. I like punchy. And normalize. I just kind of step through these and like look at everything and see how things look. And so far, so good. Let's try to save us a little bit of time and see if we can do a curves boost. Little aggressive without using a mask. We'll pull that down a little bit to 10 and that should be good. We will execute that. And there is our Pacman all stretched out for us and looking pretty damn good right off the bat, if you ask me. So now let's go ahead and pull that luminance mask that I was looking for earlier. And we'll go into curves real quick and just modify this mask a little bit to kind of make it a little bit more protective. So we'll just kind of brighten everything up and then we will darken the background. So that way we'll get like more protection on the background and more separation and everything on the Pacman. So that looks good right there. Close that out. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, and this just shows you how easy this stuff is. We're going to drag and drop and apply our mask right there. First thing I'll do is we'll go back into GHS. I think it's just the best way in Pixinsight to apply a saturation to your image. And we'll go to the saturation and we'll just start kind of lifting up on that. And we're just, doing it to the Pacman because we got everything masked. And kind of watch it a little bit, make sure we don't blow everything out. That looks good right there. And then we'll close the real-time preview and right click, and I'm going to invert the mask so that way we can kind of clean this background up a little bit. And we'll reset the tool here. And you could use curves if you want to. It's kind of up to you. It's probably the easiest way to do it. It's going to click on linear here, and I'm not going to go all the way up against. I'm just going to go about halfway here and send that to the black point and apply that. And that just gave us pretty much all the contrast that we need to have right there. So we can go ahead and remove our mask and take a look at our image here as far as what we got. I think everything's looking great. Things are getting crisped up a little bit too much because the C-star data, again, blur exterminators and everything, they just want to do such a great job for you that they actually will do too good of a job. So let's do the dark structure enhance. And again, this is one that is pretty strong. So you want to knock this down to like 15 or 20. And we're just going to try to clean this up here, but we don't want this dark. We still want color and lightness and stuff like that inside there. And that did a pretty good job. So it enhanced the dark structure and it totally didn't nuke it, which is exactly what we were going for. And then the other script that I love to use that a lot of people don't talk about is create HDR image. And this is a pretty simple script to use. You can go and play with this until your heart is content. You can try the intensity button. You get a real-time preview here. You can kind of zoom in and see what we're getting and what we're not getting. So I kind of like what that is doing right there. I like the saturation slider, and the way that this updates is a little slow. So I usually go in increments of 20. So we'll put 20 on there, and that really didn't do a whole lot. So let's go to 60. And I'm still not seeing nothing, but I don't think we want to push it all the way to 100 because it's probably going to start blowing out and doing stuff nasty. So let's just say we're going to do 60 on that. And then on the contrast, we can do the same thing, and we should see some of the contrast start to come in there in the middle. So 20 was pretty good, and 40 is a little good. We're just going to do 20 because I really want to come back with just one last round of Blur Exterminator to give us that ultimate stuff. And we'll go to 20 as far as luminance and add a little bit of luminance into it. So there is our new image. And you can see that, it's definitely done a great job in here as far as the contrast and everything, maintaining everything. It might have taken away a little bit of what we did in our dark structure enhance, so we can always come back to that. And that is under utilities and dark structure enhance. I think this time we'll do a 0.20 just to push it a little bit stronger and get through that. And I can live with that. That does not look too bad. Now we're going to just open Blur Exterminator. And I'm going to knock this down just to like a 15 on the non-stellar and see what we get. That should give us kind of like our final type of sharpening. And it was pretty aggressive. I mean, you can see that it totally did a bang up job and just sharpened everything up really, really, really well, just too well. But it just works, man. It's kind of an off-label use, but so let's just try 0.5. Sometimes you got to go higher. Sometimes you got to go really low. It just all depends. So I think that's a little bit too low. We'll scroll this back and we will go to a 10. And that'll pretty much give us our last bit of sharpening there. And I think that looks like a pretty good Pac-Man image right there. A lot of cool stuff going on. Wish the cropping and stuff was better when you combine S30 and S50 data over multiple nights. Just all the movement and all that stuff just kind of like throws everything off. If I were to do over again, I just would have shot it with one scope and probably could go back through and just process one scope's data. And, you know, it's such a bright object, I would get just as much detail and stuff out of it as possible. Now, for better homework and stuff like that, I would probably save this image and save my stars image and go into Photoshop and do all of my color correcting and stuff like that. In fact, you might want to do sharpening and all that kind of stuff inside there as well. It just works really good. And a lot of people shit all over Photoshop for some reason, but like you can get it for like 15 bucks a month. I think I pay 20 bucks a month for Netflix, and the argument of as well, I never get to own it. And like, I don't get to own Netflix either. I think I've used that before, but I mean, truth's truth. If you want to be and process images and get the best data and everything, you just need all the tools and the tool belt. I'll take this image when I'm done. I'll put it in the SATI Astro suite. I'll export it out to like ASTROBIN and all that kind of cool stuff that he's got built into there. But I can't stack in there, and I just can't get the quality in there with my images and data sets. Now, hopefully with the new sensor and the 585 in the S30 Pro, we will have a lot more luck with that. So let's go into image blend, and we're going to bring back in our stars, and going to go ahead and reset this tool here. And this is the HDR image. And there are stars right there. And we're going to go into screen mode and do this. And just in case you didn't know, you can kind of play with your sliders and stuff on here. Really, the only one that I kind of mess with is midtones, and it works just like the histogram. If you move it to the left, it's going to brighten the stars up. If you move it to the right, it's going to dim the stars down. So it's kind of up to you, like what kind of stars you want to end up having in your image. You know, there's not a lot of stars that are in the nebulosity and hiding things here. And you can also do the same thing with the image. So the image itself, we can brighten it up, we can darken it, we can do all kinds of like, you know, tricky, fun little stuff here if we want to. If you thought your background was a little too dark, you can kind of lighten it up a little bit. You know, I kind of like a flat type of image, and then I like pops of color. Could probably do better on this. Again, if I put it into Photoshop and we played with the colors and stuff, it would give us a lot more tools in the tool box to just kind of create a different kind of image. But that right there is going to be our finished image. I mean, you know, it's that easy and things look that good. We chose those color choices, and I always just kind of like to go into things like ASTROBIN and just see what everybody else is doing with their Pacmans. You know, obviously there's just some amazing shots and stuff like that, but it's just so fun to like look and see, you know, that this guy shot his Pacman with, you know, a Redcat 71, and sure, things look great, but as I say, you know, 20% of the price for 80% of the results. So you tell me, do you want to pay $500 or do you want to pay $6,000, $7,000, $8,000? It's kind of up to you. I've been down that road. This is the road that we're on now. Thanks for coming along on the journey. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Got any questions? Let me know. Appreciate it. Peace.